The USS Tripoli hits an Iraqi mine in the Gulf as the Iraqi foreign minister carries a letter from Gorbachev to Saddam Hussein, and the preparations for a ground war quicken.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Tonight, America at war. Reporting from Saudi Arabia, Tom Brokaw with Jane Pauley in New York.
Good evening from Saudi Arabia, where troops at the front, in the sky, and at the sea tonight continue to prepare for a ground war, especially since there was no dramatic breakthrough today when the Iraqi Foreign Minister Tariq Aziz met in Moscow with Soviet President Gorbachev. NBC's John Cochran. Gorbachev then sent Tariq Aziz home to Saddam Hussein with a sealed envelope. How's that going over at the White House tonight?
Well, over the weekend, Tom, George Bush went out of his way to say he was confident that Gorbachev would not go off the reservation, that he would not try to cut a deal that would be unacceptable to George Bush. So today, the president had to wait to find out whether his confidence in Gorbachev was justified.
Walking the beach before leaving Kennebunkport, the president strode quickly and straight ahead. But when asked about the talks in Moscow, he sidestepped.
I have nothing to say about the Soviet matter. There's a lot of interesting things happening. I don't want to talk about them.
The president could not say much because the Soviets had not briefed him on the talks. The session between Gorbachev and Foreign Minister Aziz lasted 3.5 hours. The Soviets said they were offering a concrete plan, but would not say what was in the concrete. After the talks, Gorbachev's spokesman sounded upbeat, sort of.
The
plan envisages political measures which we believe were received with understanding by the Iraqi side.
As Tariq Aziz left Moscow for Baghdad, he said he would report to Saddam Hussein and would return to Moscow very soon with Iraq's reply. When President Bush returned to the White House, he still had not heard from the Soviets. But Gorbachev had talked to Germany's Chancellor Helmut Kohl, and Kohl talked to Bush. A German newspaper, Bild, reported Gorbachev's plan includes Iraq's unconditional withdrawal from Kuwait, no reprisals against Iraq, no tampering with Iraq's government and borders, and eventual negotiations on the Palestinian-Israeli problem. Late today, Bush huddled with top advisors to discuss the Kremlin plan, which the Soviets were finally sending to Washington in a secret cable.
Before that cable arrived, a senior White House aide told NBC News that President Bush regarded the Soviet plan as, quote, no big deal. Now they've seen that Soviet cable, and the White House has just issued this statement. The Soviets have asked that we treat the substance of their account of the plan as confidential. We will not comment further on it. The White House adds, however, our military campaign remains on schedule. Tom?
Thank you, John Cochran at the White House. NBC's Brad Willis is here with me in Saudi Arabia. And today, Brad, while the heavy air campaign continued up north, a couple of American warships did run into some trouble in the Persian Gulf. What's the latest on that?
Well, Tom, the missile cruiser USS Princeton and the helicopter carrier USS Tripoli were conducting a mine-sweeping operation off the coast of Kuwait. They strayed into an Iraqi landmine. They failed to detect the danger before it was too late. The first mine rocked the USS Tripoli shortly before dawn. 4 crewmen were slightly injured. This man overcome by smoke.
If you have any casualties down there, make sure you bring them up here.
The crew scrambled to contain the damage.
Give me 5 guys, let's go.
Water flooded a main engine room into an ammunition hold and swamped a chemical and paint storage area, some of it oozing into the Gulf. Divers hit the water, finding a huge hole torn in the hull.
Contact seems to be a 16 by 20 foot hole, 30 foot below the surface.
The impact of the explosion jarred the entire ship and all 600 men aboard.
I thought a missile hit us, and scary. I thought this was it, that we were going down. It was like a nightmare almost.
For several hours, the Tripoli sat dead in the water. Officers called for calm.
Our self-defense systems are in place, but we are no threat. We don't need to have someone overreact.
Other minesweepers and battleships converged on the area. Several more mines were spotted and then marked for later disposal. The Tripoli's mission is to spot and sweep for mines with the help of its own helicopter fleet. But this morning brought proof of just how dangerous Gulf waters are even for ships designed to make them safe. Now, the Tripoli was able to restore its power. No word yet on whether it will be able to continue its mission. The Princeton suffered more serious damage. It will have to be towed to safety for repairs. Tom?
Thank you, Brad Willis.